All right, it says we are live. It says we're live, and let's just get the picture adjusted here. We are live from Sally's house, and we're getting everything set up, and it looks like we're streaming. So if you're on the stream, send me a little note telling me if you can see and hear, and we'll take it from there. But we're just about ready to get started here with our live stream. And one thing I did not do was bring in extra lights. So if you're having trouble seeing because it's dim, let me know and I can go out and get the extra light. But it's looking all right to me right now.
That's okay on the stream.
Okay, so it says, yes, can see and hear. Good. For our online folks can see and hear. All right, well, that's good. Let's go ahead and get started. And I know there's some people in the house here who have not yet sat down, but you can let anybody know that we're going. And it's good to see you here who are all ready to play. Has everybody tuned?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. All right, well, then here. I did just check this A against the tuner, so you can go ahead and take it. Okay, well, this month, for a long time, I kind of planned that I wanted to do some Cape Breton music. And then my theme kind of got swung a little, sort of a sub-direction within that big, broad category of Cape Breton. So here was my original thinking. Each year I try to make a trip to Cape Breton. It doesn't always work out, but it works out most years. And so most times I get to spend a little time in Cape Breton taking in some music and as well as just the whole Cape Breton scene, which is just such a nice place to go for. Is that my car beeping?
I think it's some heroin.
Okay. So anyway, I'm hoping it's not my car alarm. So in Cape Breton, I like to take in the outdoor activities. There's kayaking and hiking and swimming if you're hardy. No kidding. People do go to beaches there. You just have to pick them carefully so that you're not getting sort of the full onslaught of the North Atlantic coming at you. And instead, you're getting a nice shallow bay that's been warmed by the sun. So if you pick it right, you can manage this. It does take a hardier sort of swimmer. If you're used to Caribbean beaches, forget it. It's not for you. But anyway. So Cape Breton's great for the outdoor activities, but it's also great for the indoor with the music, and you can combine them with outdoor music festivals. A lot of the indoor activities either shut down or slowed down with COVID restrictions in Canada. But this past summer, some of the outdoor festivals were up and running, which was really great. So every year in August, the Cape Breton Fiddlers Association, which is a pretty loose fiddle club. They don't quite do the way we do with a monthly workshop but they get together from time to time and they have performances from time to time. And one big thing that they do is they put on the Cape Breton Festival of Fiddling in August, and it's held at the Gaelic College at St. Anne's. And if the weather is good, it's all outdoors on this grassy meadow where you get this great scenery behind the stage, and then fiddlers of all kinds come and play individually, in small groups, or in big groups. So the way it works is a little bit informal. They don't hire headliners. They don't they don't say advertise that so-and-so big name person is going to be there. But what happens is a lot of big name people do show up and just sign up and play. And there'll be pianists there who you just say, oh, I'll play with you. So it's a little bit spontaneous, but that's the way the community works. In addition, the Cape Breton Fiddlers Association has appointed a few people to lead the performance of the large group. And they, in advance, say, okay, the large group will be playing these numbers. And they have kindly taken to posting that music online. So if you're a Cape Breton Fiddlers Association member, you can easily access this music, learn what the tunes are going to be, practice up if you need to, and get ready to play with the big group. So I went and I checked out that website ahead of time, and I'm like, yep, I know most of these tunes, or enough of these tunes, but I don't know them all. And then when I got there, they asked if I was playing. I said, well, maybe, I don't know. Go check them. So you go backstage to leave your instrument while you go sit in the audience. And as soon as you go backstage, they're like, you're carrying a fiddle. Are you going to play? So that has happened to me before. So I was not surprised this time. And, I sat and listened for a while, and they said, okay, you're going to play. Who's going to play with you? And I said, well, so-and-so was playing piano, sounded pretty nice. I don't know any of them this time. So how about if I play with them? And anyway, they said, sure. And then I went and found that pianist and said, do you know these tunes? And she was like, you need to ask Lawrence. So I got pointed out to me, Lawrence Cameron, who's a wonderful pianist. And I played my tunes for him, and he's like, sure, I'll do that. So Lawrence was my new best friend, and I played a set of tunes with Lawrence Cameron. He's a terrific pianist. I'd be happy to play with him again anytime. Howie McDonald was there. Kyle McNeil was there. Dara McDonald Smith was there, or maybe she's Smith McDonald. She's Smith McDonald. Okay, I'm lost the name. There's another really prominent female fiddler there, and I'm blanking on her name, but she's awesome too. I will think of it eventually. Anyway, there were lots of great fiddlers there. There were people who could step dance, people who could sing, and you just have a grand old time at these festivals. So my original idea was to present a number of tunes from the Cape Breton Fiddlers Association performance sets, ones that we haven't necessarily already learned. And the idea is, if our counterparts in some other place are playing these for their performances, why, we should too. They're obviously good tunes. This plan got modified somewhat because I got the news from my cousin by marriage that Doug McPhee passed away in late December. And if you ever had a chance to meet him or hear him play, just one of the most amazing Cape Breton style pianists you will ever hear. And he was a big favorite of mine, and I met him when I was still in college. So pretty early on, when I started playing Scottish fiddle music, he came and did a concert with our group. And I was sitting really close behind Doug in the performance. I got to watch his hands on the keyboard, and it's just really great. I got to see him do his bass runs, which is sort of famous for these chromatic bass runs that he walks with the left hand. He had a great span and could do, easily do 2-octave bass lines. So over the years, I would run into Doug McPhee at events in Cape Breton, and he would particularly be a regular at the St. Anne's Tea Room, Cayley, which is on the Cabot Trail, and it's about a mile away from our family place where we stay when we're there in the summers. So we always go to the Cayleys there, and I meet Doug, and as is the way of the Cayleys, there'd be sort of featured performers at the Cayleys, and then whoever is there, they ask them if they're going to do something. So I would generally get asked to do something when I'm in town at the Cayleys. And so if Doug McPhee was one of the featured performers, I get to play with him. And it was just great. So over the years, just lots of looking forward to getting to play with Doug. And a few years back, 2019, so I guess it was, just before pandemic, Doug and another fiddler who's performing with him played this set of tunes that he had composed. He did not compose very many tunes, but I thought they were very striking, and I asked him if I could find, where I could find some sheet music, and Doug actually delivered me a couple of pages of his tunes. So it was like this personal gift, and that is the last time I saw him. So I have put them in our music so that we can see some of Doug's personal compositions. I'll also tell you a few more stories about Doug McPhee, because what a great guy, and one of the kindest and most talented guys you would ever meet. Knew all sorts of things about Cape Breton fiddle music and the Cape Breton music scene in general. So let's go on to learning a tune, shall we? I have lots of good tunes this time. Since it's Cape Breton music, it's strathspeys, it's reels, and it's jigs. I thought we might start out with a jig to begin, but I'm not sure whether you'd rather learn one in the key of D or in the key of A. Any preferences?
Which one's harder?
I don't know.
You're so good, Vera.
I'm not really sure which one's harder. To my mind, they're both reasonably accessible.
Which one sounds catchier? That's what I was saying.
Here's the other thing. They're both really catchy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And they're both really popular. As in, when I saw these amongst the Cape Breton fiddlers' tunes, for one of them, I was like, I thought they would play that tune. I already knew it. And for the other one, I had heard it so many times it felt like I knew it, but I didn't actually know it. And I didn't know its name. And so one of them is Swinging On Home by Joan MacDonald Bowes, who is another pianist who's written a number of well-known tunes. And the one in the key of A is The Road to Skye. Any thoughts? Road to Skye or Swing It On?
That's a great name.
Okay, Road to Skye. Oh, we're getting all kinds of stuff on the chat. So let me take a quick look. Yeah. Okay. Yes. They're asking if there's snow and ice here. No, there's no snow and ice. The traffic problems were caused by a truck fire on the Beltway. So it's actually really horrible. And the whole Beltway shut down. Which is why people are having such trouble getting here today. However, the other questions here are about some Cape Breton music. Oh, somebody saw Howie McDonald playing in Alabama of all places. Well, that's great. All right, let's go for this jig in the key of A, The Road to Skye. This tune is also known in Irish circles where it goes under a different name. It's called Road to Skye in Scotland, Cape Breton. In Ireland, it's called Kitty of Coleraine. And it's often played in the key of G because a lot of tunes that are A in Scottish tradition get translated to G in Irish tradition if they make that crossover, because wooden flutes and woolen pipes, they play much better in the key of G than the key of A. And so that has dictated that sort of change. Versus the Scots, Highland pipes, key of A, fiddles love key of A. So there's much more key of A in Scotland and more key of G in Ireland. All right. So here is the tune. Let me play it for you. The Road to Skye.
That is catchy.
It is catchy,
Yeah.
isn't it? I promised you a catchy tune, didn't I? Well then, let's do it. Pickup note is the key, is the note E. And you really do need a big range for this. We're going to be all the way from, we don't, oh yes, if you need to tune, you need the low strings tune too, for sure.
Ooh. Give me an A, please.
So while the tuning is going on, I'll tell you another little story, which is that you can keep tuning, it's okay. Which is that over the winter break between Christmas and New Year's, I was playing at an event, a week-long event in Kentucky, and the weather was doing a number on stringed instruments. So I had just played my fiddle for dancing. And you're about to start the next dance. I pick up the instrument, and as I pick it up, it goes boing, 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 and 3 of the strings all unraveled. Just, and all I did was
came out or unraveled.
no, they just the pegs sprung and the strings went slack. So there I am with only one string, and of course it's rapidly going out of tune because there's no other tension holding the bridge in place. And all I did was pick the thing up, and I had just played it, and so they're ready. They're ready for me to play and start the dance right then and there. So one of the other musicians there said, "Oh, my dad has a fiddle," and he just gets the fiddle and hands it to me, and it was in tune. So I started playing another person's fiddle. Then of course not. No shoulder rest like I like it. It was, so it was just, it feels like you're wearing the wrong shoes or something. But I was able to play, and so the guy saved the day. Absolutely saved the day for me. So thank you, Jim Morrison. Anyway.
I can't imagine playing without a shoulder rest.
Oh gosh, it just didn't feel right. But I was able to play it as opposed to being dead in the water and telling everybody, "Oh, just twiddle your thumbs while I tune for 5 minutes because this is going to be a big and bad one." So I'm not surprised that anybody's having trouble getting in tune at this time of year. It's the time of year for wooden instruments to say, "No, I won't do it." So key of A, and let's do a little scale warm up. Let's take it from the low A, which is actually lower than the lowest note in this tune, but not by much. Arpeggios, because that's the other really big thing in this tune. C sharp, E, C sharp, E. Okay, I think we're warmed up and all set, and we're ready to actually do the Road to Sky. So as I was saying, the pickup note is an E. And we start from note A going down the scale. Oh, good, we've got some people who arrived. Did you get here from Maryland?
Yeah.
Wow.
You were stuck in the traffic.
It's on fire.
Wow. Did they start letting people by?
No,
You had to take a different
We were
route.
on, we were on 190.
took us a long time to get off the
Got
dock.
by it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well,
Took us 2 hours. Exactly.
yes. I was able to bail out onto George Washington Parkway
Ah,
just in time.
uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
you know, when things started piling up, I was like, oh, I wonder which way I should go. Which is the magic way to get out of here? And I picked the right one. So I actually got here by 2:30, but I was planning to get here by 2, so that didn't quite work as planned. Okay, so we have our pickup note of E, and we're going down the scale from A. And this E is actually a part of an arpeggio figure where we're going C sharp and back to E. So the first measure put together is that scale and arpeggio. That's great. Okay, let's continue on. Arpeggio going up from A. And ending the measure with F sharp. So the second measure is arpeggio up with the F sharp and E. So 2 measures put together with the pickup note. How is that going? Do you need more?
Maybe one more time.
Another time.
Is that-
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
thank you.
Okay. Let's do it one more time anyway. Okay.
No, that was good.
All right.
I'm good.
Next measure, we're here on the E. We're going to jump up to the next arpeggio note of A. And then we have a big jump down to C sharp. And to add to that measure, next figure is C sharp B, C sharp. So putting it together, it's that's 3 C sharps in a row, actually. Yeah, that's more like it, yeah. All right, one more on that?
Maybe one more.
Okay, yes, that's fine. Hi. It's a lot of C sharps in a row. One more. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next measure. We'll come back to this. Fourth measure of the tune, D. And a big jump down to the F sharp. So the third and fourth measures, 2 similar intervals, A to C sharp. C sharps. It's one more than you're
I
thinking.
hear somebody back.
Yeah, I heard somebody. I'm not gonna name any names, or even
Throwing myself into
even
it.
voice any suspicions. But if you think you might not be playing enough C sharps, listen and make sure. All right, and one thing I will point out is it really is parallel because we have A, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, a third one, and on the next measure, 3 F sharps. So. Let's play it. Okay. So we now have a 4-bar phrase. Do you remember how this thing started? A pickup note? What pickup note was it? Yes. An E pickup note, and then the tune proper starts with an A scale going down. You want to listen to the 4 bars
Yes,
first?
yes.
Okay. Putting it together, here's the 4 bars. And join in. That's sounding pretty good. Any questions on that part? All right. Let's do the next bit. The next 4-bar phrase starts with the same 2 bars. So same pickup note. That's all the same. So let's just play it. That worked, right? I trust.
Well, I'm just trying to read your hands.
Yes. Yeah, it's perfectly legal. You can do it by just watching my fingers. There's many methods. Watch the fingers, pay attention to the names of the notes, listen for the intervals, whatever suits you. We got 2 more bars in this part of the tune. We just had and the ending from here is an arpeggio from high A. So find that. B. And the last measure. Last 2 measures put together is this. Okay, how we doing?
Unless you want to do just a quick review.
Oh, I am going to review it all.
And just throw in a couple of names the notes.
Yeah. Okay, let me do a put together of the 8 bars of the A part with a roadmap as we go. So our pickup note is E. It's always good to know where you start. The first thing that happens, so this is a listen along, is scale down from the note A, arpeggio notes, arpeggio up, landing on F sharp. Big interval from A to C sharp, 3 C sharps, and then D to F sharp, 3 F sharps. Same pickup note, same scale. This is the repeat part. And arpeggio up to F sharp again. And the new ending is an A arpeggio, B note, and ending on C sharp and landing on A. So let's try that. It's a straight arpeggio down. Okay, let's do it again. trouble spots. Yes.
When we're in the second half of the A, we're up on the E. I kind of muddle it on the way down. It's an A arpeggio going down, but someplace I'm missing a note.
Okay, so it sounds like you're here. And you're up on the E. And what do? You go up to the high A, play A, E, C sharp, and then B, back to B, because that's just wasting time. You don't want to get to the A too fast. You don't want to go, oh, now we gotta wait a bar. So this is wasting time. Twiddle on the B, C sharp, then now we land on the A and repeat it until we filled up all the space. So that whole thing, the only point there is to play an A arpeggio, finish on A, but make it take 2 bars instead of just 4 notes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, did that help?
Yes.
Let's play it. Do you want to play just that bit for starters?
Yeah, that would
So the last 2 bars of the A part, wait, we're on the E note, so find your E note. And we're going to play the high A. And then the B twiddle. And then C sharp down to A. Oh, that sounded ever so much better. Let's do it again. Okay, let's put it into context, the whole 8 bars of the A part. I played a wrong note. Instead of me doing, I went, and I said, oops, I didn't do that. And covered up that I actually made an error there. So sorry. All right, let's do it again. This time I promise I will do it right. The second to last measure.
You wouldn't read, I apologize for being late, but you wouldn't.
I'd be happy to tell you
Have
what
me check
this-
the notes. If
what
you would
this
say
is.
the notes along, I will.
Yes.
I will have no problem.
I have a hard time narrating every single note, but I
Okay.
can hit some key ones
Okay, thank you.
as we go along. And I do try to do that when I first introduce it,
Mhm.
but not when we're doing the playthrough
Right,
so
right, of
much.
course.
It's like too much.
It's too hard to talk.
It's a lot of
Like,
multitasking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
being
yeah.
late.
Yeah.
So,
And by the way, the name of this is The Road to Sky. We're doing jigs, Strathspey's reels, and an air from Cape Breton this month. So not all of them will be taught by ear, but the first couple or 2 or 3 taught by ear. All right, so E pickup note, then the A scale. A arpeggio up, F sharp, high A, C sharp, and D to F sharp. A scale again. Arpeggio, F sharp, high A arpeggio, C sharp to A. That's so good. Let's do it again. Now, if you were to happen to play both times, or nobody's going to notice that you did that instead of the arpeggio. It'll just sound like harmony, and you will not be issued a citation or ticket or anything. You can just keep playing without pulling over. So just keep in mind, it's one tries to get the notes as we're presenting them, but it's not absolutely critical. Not all notes are equally critical. There's certain notes that I will stop and say, you must play an A there. Don't think of playing another note. No G sharps there. But other ones like that, playing an E note or a C sharp in that spot, not going to stop the train. So let's go on to the second part. There's more of this tune, and the fun is just beginning. I told you there are lots of arpeggios as well as scales. Well, we've got them both in the B part. So the pickup note is still the same E note. So when in doubt, at the beginning of any section, play an E note. And the first thing we do in the B part is play arpeggio, starting on the note A, going up, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then play a scale down from the note D. And those are the first 2 bars of the B part. So it's arpeggio, 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 scale down from D. Yay! That worked Sound good? Questions? All right. Moving on, the next bit is the same arpeggio going up, and then scale up the scale. So same arpeggio start, and then climb the scale. And the end of this 4-bar phrase is G sharp and E's. So that second 2 bars, bar 3 and 4 of the B part, is this. Scale. Okay.
So when you start on the E, and you go right into the arpeggios, so that you're going E, G.
Does that make sense? Okay. Shall we do that one more time?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I would like to put together the first 4 bars of this B part. So here's how it goes. With the E pickup note and then the repeated A arpeggios. D scale down, the arpeggio, scale up, and our landing on E. So far, so good? Okay. So we're now in our second 4 bars, which is a fancy tag that's really just a scale. So let me give you the scale. So let's find those 4 scale notes from high A. And now we're going to decorate each of them. Okay, let's do a little bit more because I'm going to decorate the last one with a different method. Arpeggio. Okay, one more thing to add, which is the pickup notes to this sequence. 2 sequence. We were just at, sounds familiar, right? And now we're going to climb the scale with 2 pickup notes, F sharp, G sharp, and then we have our decorated scale. With the pickup notes. because the pickup notes don't seem to fit exactly right. And it's true, we have a full 4 bars and then we're adding 2 pickup notes on top of that. So it gives us a weird feeling of the phrasing. It fits right in perfectly with what came before it though. There won't be any extra notes. But for now, let's do those 2 pickup notes again and then our decorated scale. We need 1 more bar to finish this phrase. No, sorry, 2 more bars. I said wrong. That's an E arpeggio. E, G sharp, E. The next part of that measure is a scale from D. And an ending that should sound familiar. So that ending put together is an E arpeggio. Scale from D. And from C sharp ending. And another time for that. Okay, so we now have an 8-bar phrase. Shall we try it? It's okay. You know this stuff because I'll do the mapping out as I walk you through it. Pickup note is, as usual, the E. Arpeggio 3 times. Scale from D. Arpeggio. Scale going up. G sharp. 2 pickup notes. Decorated scale. Arpeggio. E arpeggio. Scale from D. C sharp end. You did it. Let's do it again. Okay, questions about that part?
Could you just play that last part again for me, Elke, when we come back down from the high note right
Okay.
here?
So we're on the high A note, right?
Right. I just
Yeah.
need to hear it a little bit more clearly.
So the pickup notes were F sharp G, and here we are on the high A, up 1 note, G sharp, up 1 note, F sharp, up 1 note, E, this is arpeggio C sharp A, and then a low E. Let's do that same bit.
You can just do that bit.
Yeah, let's do that bit. That's worth knowing.
That's good.
bars of the B. There's more. But don't get scared. Most of it's the same. Some of it's easier. So the part that's different is actually easier. So the second 8 bars of the B starts the same way, same pickup note, same arpeggios. This is all the same. This is all the same also. Same pickup notes, just a long note, undecorated. This is a new twist on the same ending. So you have a little bit of, you can leave out the decorations. Now that you spent the trouble learning the decorations, just don't play them. Just play those 4 notes. So let's go back to those 4 notes. An A note. And this A note is the pickup or lead into the second to last bar, which is the only thing that is truly different. And the second to last bar is D. So let's find those notes. D, C sharp, D. And then a B. E. So the second to last bar in its entirety with the pickup note A. And it leads to that ending, which is unchanged. That we've just stuck onto it as a variant and something new is actually one is I call it Irish jig cliche ending number 1 because it is used over and over and over again, mainly in Irish jigs, but Scottish jigs have a lot in common with Irish jigs, and so it makes its way into the Scottish jig world also. Plus, I told you this tune is a crossover. It has an Irish name, it has a Scottish name, it has a slightly different Irish version, and it has this Scottish / Cape Breton take on it. But it's using that standard Irish jig ending. The standard Irish jig ending number 1 is also what I would call the Irish washerwoman ending. If you know the tune Irish Washerwoman. You're in a different key. Same note. In the key of A instead of G. Yes. So that is used in jigs all over the place, but most famously in Irish Washerwoman. So if that helps you do this, just remember, oh yeah, Irish Washerwoman ending. All right, so let's try playing the second 8-bar phrase of Road to Sky, and that's with the E pickup, 3 arpeggios. Scale up. Long notes. Irish Washerwoman. Yeah. Okay. We need to.
Could you do a roll or an ornament on those ones?
You could, but this is. Keep in mind, this is a Cape Breton version of a tune, not an Irish version. So if you were playing the same notes in an Irish jig, you would definitely be doing some kind of roll. Not in Cape Breton. They're not going to be doing rolls like that in Cape Breton. That's not a standard Cape Breton ornament. But an ornament? Sure. Yeah, you're definitely going to do something. Yeah, you might be doing stuff like that. But you're not trying to convert it back into an Irish jig. Because this is being played this way because this is how it's played in Cape Breton. All right, let us do the B part, whole thing. So you get to do the decorated version of the scale. And then you get to do the second time with the Irish washerwoman ending. Only the last time for the Irish washerwoman. Okay, here we go. From the beginning. Oh, did I say the B part? I said we were going to do the B part only, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, do the B part. Here we go. Decorated. Arpeggio. No decoration. Irish washerwoman. Okay, now I don't want to lose sight of the beginning of the tune. So we need to recall our first part. How'd it go? Yes, the E pickup note. Okay, that's a good start. What happened next? Anybody remember?
Scale down from A.
Scale down from A. Oh, we've got good recollection here. Low arpeggio notes. A, big interval to C sharp. And D to F sharp. Arpeggio. Repeat that whole believe we did. Let's play it for the second time. I think we might have skipped some of those repeats before as well. So let's get back to the right form and repeat the A part. Now we can do the B. Okay, that last time was up to dancing speed, which is necessary. It's necessary to get to that speed to do all the styling. Because at the slower pace, it just sounds like notes, especially when we're just playing. Right, and it has to go a little faster so that you get the idea. The Cape Breton jigs, unlike most of the Scottish jigs, particularly the ones played for Scottish country dancing, those jigs are dotted. The Cape Breton jigs are almost undotted. So if I were playing this truly Scottish style, particularly Scottish country dance, it would be. Which puts this lilt to it. The lilt is not completely gone, but it's much smoothed over in the Cape Breton version. without it being monotonously even. I don't want it to say it's totally even because that would be more. And that's quite different, right? So they're rhythmically nearly even, but they're not given equal treatment, equal value. Okay, so that's what I have to say about The Road to Sky. And I hope you enjoyed learning that tune. We'll play it again sometime. Are you ready for something else?
Yeah.
Do say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Because you know I never let you get away with just one tune by ear unless it's like something really amazingly complicated. So would you prefer? Yes, this one will also be by ear, and you would have your choice of another jig, also catchy tune in the key of D that I mentioned before, or we could do a reel, or a Strathspey,
I'm like, Marilyn's good at the reels, but I love jigs.
or a slow air.
What keys are they in?
Oh, we've got some choices.
We might not like.
Yes, I have many tunes in keys you would not like. This However, I wasn't planning
That's
to
2 Gs.
wasn't planning to teach any of the F sharp minor tunes by ear. Although it's tempting to do this one.
No, we're happy.
No, no? Which one? Oh, it's called Radio Edit by Andrea Beaton. It's really good.
You wanna play it for us and we can be entertained?
Yeah, we can pick after Elke plays it.
Well, I'll give you a little secret. I have 3 tunes in F sharp minor, and it's because Doug McPhee's tunes that I asked him about that he gave to me were in F sharp minor. And he, being a piano player, he didn't particularly compose it for ease of playing on fiddle.
Yeah.
I mean, after all, he made his whole career out of playing fiddle tunes on piano. Like, okay, I know this was written for fiddle, but I'm going to play it on piano and make it sound like it was native to the piano. So I'm sure his mindset was a little like, well, I can make those fiddle tunes sound like they belong on piano. Those fiddlers can make these piano tunes sound like they belong on fiddle. It doesn't quite work as easily in that direction.
I think the dog likes you.
The dog, by the way, once we started picking up the tempo, instead of snoozing, the dog was wagging the tail, and it started going faster and faster with the rhythm of the tune. It was really fun to watch.
It's funny like that.
There was a dog right here at my feet, Sally's dog, through this whole thing. So, this tune, Radio Edit, which I think you have just decided you're going to learn by ear, was written by Andrea Beaton. Andrea Beaton is a fiddler, and so even though it's in the key of F sharp minor, it's a very accessible F sharp minor. No weird notes. How do you like that?
Like,
What is the key signature for?
So it's not that bizarre. It's key of A.
Okay.
It's 3 sharps. It's
Okay.
sharps that we're all used to playing. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. If you play fiddle and you play fiddle tunes, you've encountered the key of A many times. You don't even think about it. You're like, oh sure, key of A, just fine. As soon as you call it F sharp minor, everybody's like, whoa. And they think it's going to be hard because it could be. But it's not. It's not going to be. Because Andrea wrote it. She's a fiddler. She's like, heck no, I'm not going to play hard tunes on the fiddle. I'm going to play this F sharp minor tune and impress everybody with the key, and it's still going to be fun to play. So. is a radio edit? A radio edit is a version of a recorded song or tune suitable for play on the radio. And for people who do certain kinds of music where there may be unsuitable lyrics for general radio audience, they'll do a radio edit of their song that can be played anytime on the radio. And then they'd have the version that's not suitable for general airplay that they'd put on their album that people could choose to buy and listen to. So I don't think any of Andrea's tunes actually fall in that category of needing a radio edit, but she called it that anyway, I think just for fun. All right, let's learn it. So it's in the key of F sharp minor, which is the same key as A, only starting on F sharp. So let's play an F sharp minor scale. F sharp, there it is. G sharp. And we can go right back down. So for anyone who's actually wondering about this is not the classical music version of a minor scale where it has an E sharp. That's not going to happen. She doesn't want to. Yeah,
There's your harmonic and melodic.
right. So this is the one that has no sharp 7. It's just an ordinary E note in this case. Yes, you could play the second octave, but who wants to go up to F sharp? Nobody, not even the composer. So she didn't write any notes up there. It doesn't go any higher than A, which is, again, perfectly normal notes on this instrument. There are also no weird notes down low here where you have to play something strange because it's in the lower range. So pickup note is F sharp. And by the way, Andrew Beaton does have tune books out. I have not seen this one in any of her tune books, so it's maybe yet to be published. This is a relatively recent tune. But it kind of hit the scene about 5 years ago and people started playing it, and I noticed it was popular and being recorded and played many places. So I thought, oh, it's about time to bring this on into Fiddle Club. So I transcribed it from her playing. That's how I have a printed copy of this. Okay, pickup note is F sharp. And then we repeat that F sharp. So the beginning of the tune is. So far, so good. And by the way, the speed of ear learning on the second tune is always a little brisker than the first. So
Those of us who are classically.
the speed of the teaching, not necessarily the speed of the tune. Yeah. But I'm not going to spend another hour on this tune. I have to spend less time or we won't get through our tunes for the day.
You give out?
Yep. All right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's always another reference. Plus, you can go to the website and get the YouTube, access the YouTube live stream and listen to it later and replay it as many times as you want, and even use the slow down feature if that helps you. So, good resources available now. All right, so we had our first bar with. Excellent. Next bar, C sharp. That's pretty good. Third bar. That's the first half of it. second half of it. So here is the third bar put together. Good. Fourth bar. Okay, we have enough to put together a 4-bar phrase, shall we? Do you want to listen to it?
Yes.
Say yes, yes. Marilyn already said yes. She knows. Okay, the 4 bars with the pickup note is this. Everybody can join in. Again. Okay, how is that generally speaking? I know there will be some details.
It's nice, just 2 fingers so far.
Yeah. In fact, I will just tell you right now, she pretty much avoids the 3rd finger. There's a couple places where you're going to need to use it, but mostly this is an open 1st and 2nd. Isn't that handy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so that you don't have to decide, oh, wait, is that sharp? Is that not, that's not sharp. No, wait, that's natural. No, wait, sharp. You don't have to decide, mostly. Right. So we're halfway through the first part. The second half of it starts the same way. And here's what happens this time. Burl. So let me teach that in a little more detail. We have our pickup notes, which are the same, F sharp and E. And we start that 3rd bar on the downbeat on a C sharp again, like before. Except instead of, it's not that little rocking thing. Instead it is. And pickup notes to the last bar are just. Because the last bar is. And that is a D sharp. That is your use of 3rd finger right there. different from that first phrase with the pickups. Let's play that much. And I'm just going to say one word about the burl, the 3 quick notes. That's in Cape Breton, where that is an ornament. It's a bowed ornament. So it's a decoration done with the bow. You can always substitute a quarter note. That doesn't sound as cool, but it's perfectly legal because that's the underlying tune. This is a decoration on that. In Cape Breton, it's not called a burl because they don't speak with Scottish accents, so it doesn't sound like burl, which is how the rhythm of the movement sounds. So that doesn't have meaning in Cape Breton. So they call it cuts, and it's because you're cutting that quarter note into 3. And likewise, you can cut it into 2. So they might cut it a different way. So you don't cut it, you cut it into 2, you cut it into 3. You can cut it into 4, but that's not generally done in real time. It could be done in strathspeys or marches. So let's put together the first half of radio edit. There is one thing I did not teach you, which is the transition from phrase 1 to phrase 2. It is just down the scale. That's where we ended the first phrase, and we go. So it's going down a gap scale. Either figure it out, just play the F sharp because the F sharp pickup is always good, or leave a hole. All are acceptable. Okay, here we go. F sharp pickup note. Okay, I figure we all could use more practice on that. So moving on. The big part. Yeah, it's just the time consideration. This is the kind of tune that I'd probably spend more time with at a fiddle camp, for example. And is the Upper Potomac Fiddle Camp?
Yeah, it's the 20th to the 22nd.
Right, later this month?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm not teaching at it, so you won't hear this tune at that camp. But there are lots of good people teaching at it, and you might want to find out about it and sign up if you have not already done it, because it's always good time and lots of good tunes.
North Potomac Fiddle Camp?
It's the Upper Potomac,
Oh, upper.
and it's Fiddle Weekend.
It's in Shepherd's Town.
Yeah, Fiddle Retreat is what they call Upper Potomac Fiddle Retreat is its proper name. And you can find it online by looking that up. It's in Shepherdstown, West Virginia.
Okay.
So the nearest part of West Virginia.
I think it's slightly somewhere else.
Yeah, it's in a different place.
Yeah, right. Not the exact same location as before, but still.
It's near Sharpsburg, I think.
Oh, Sharpton? Yeah.
This is in Maryland.
That's
Is
in
it
Maryland.
in Maryland this year?
That I can't say, I don't have.
Well, you know, I think when I
It's not
looked at where it is, I would still go to Shepherdstown and
Yeah,
there,
No,
to where it was
the address though is Shepherdstown.
So anyway, I'm not going to answer questions
that's
about
really
exactly
good.
where it is, but you can find it still by looking up
Yes,
Upper
that's
Potomac
right.
Fiddle Retreat Weekend, and it's later this month in January. And there are other fiddle events going on. I know that John Turner does a sort of a jink and diddle weekend in January or February. So look that up under jink and diddle. And then of course there are lots of camps in the summertime. Alistair Fraser and Natalie Haas typically do one in May in New York State. There's the Ohio Scottish Arts School, which I'm going to be teaching this year.
Okay.
So if you want a week where I teach stuff differently than I teach here at Fiddle Club, then that could be the place for you. That one's also really good for teenagers because they have a whole ton of them there. All people doing Highland dancing, pipe band, and drumming stuff are also at this camp, and there are also harp people. So it's a really nice Scottish focused camp. And over the summer, there's a lot of the typical ones. Alistair Fraser does camps. John Turner does camps. Melinda Crawford does a camp. I'm sure there are more that I'm not thinking of at this very moment. But there's the no longer Boston Harbor, but Boston something else. Boston States Camp. There's the Fiddle Hell event. It's in
Outside of Boston.
Massachusetts, closer to Boston. They have more than one event per year, and a significant portion is now also available online. So you can look that up. Fiddle Hell sounds bad. It is good. And their focus is not especially Scottish, but you can find Scottish and Cape Breton music there, among other things. All right, back to radio edit. We had just played the first part, so we're going to move on to the second part. All right, so the pickup notes for the second part, F sharp and E. Now we're going to jump from low F sharp to high F sharp. So we just had those two pickup notes, and then we play another low F sharp. So listen to this. Pickup notes. I'm going to add a little bit more because we haven't completed the first measure yet. That actually completes the entire first bar, plus the pickup notes ahead of it. That's an A at the end of the bar. Yeah. More or less? Close enough for a second tune?
Once or twice?
What's
Is
that?
it just a long A at the end, or is it two?
It's an eighth note.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. It's not long.
okay.
Yeah. Second bar. Second bar is a burl or cuts on a B note. So you can either play a B quarter note or play the cuts on it. And here's the whole figure. So the two measures put together. Okay, next bit starts very similarly. The pickup notes are not the same because we ended here, and so instead of an F sharp, it's A. Just because it's a convenient transition from B. Yeah. Okay, so that's just the transition. The third bar, similar to the first, starts the same, but then it goes up high. Very good. Fourth bar. Except the first note has the cuts on it. Okay, so we've got our first 4-bar phrase. I'm going to put it together. Again. I think it might help if you listen to that. So only the first time am I going to play the pickup notes because they don't fit if we cycle through it. I have to leave them out. Also, the first time you do this F to F sharp jump, we're coming back down. You don't go up high yet. That's in the third bar only. So I'll play it for you, then join in on that repeat. Everybody. moving right along because we have a tune to finish here. Next two bars are the same as the first two bars of the B part, so it's just a direct repeat. So we know that already. Let's play it. Okay, and then we're gonna fly in the last two bars from the A part. Okay, let's put the whole B part together. If it's not all coming at once, then focus on the bits you can get and keep on the train. Just don't fall off the train. So there's no need to stop. Just collect the notes that you know are coming. And eventually you collect more and add to it and it starts flowing better. But let's give it a shot. The B part of radio edit. A lot more time to practice that one. So let's add the whole tune in and play the whole thing. I'm really merciless this time. So do you remember how it started?
Yeah.
F sharp.
F
Yes.
sharp, F sharp.
Yes. Well, you're on the right track. Absolutely. So F sharp pickup note is the word with sometimes more. So, and let me just play the beginning of it as a reminder. That should sound a little familiar. Let's get it back, right? the fast version for those who are willing to try it. Anybody willing to play with me? Would you like to hear it fast?
Yes.
Yes, okay. There we go. That's Radio Edit by Andrea Beaton. Okay, I think it's time to move on to some tunes from sheet music. I saw those eyes glaze over a long time ago. Yep, well, don't worry. It is. Okay, I know I put those. Here they are, look at that. All right. Oh, yes, and please do tune. It's good. It's good to tune. There are 5 pages 14 through 18, and do you have a sign-up sheet?
Yes, oh yes,
So Basil will hand around our sign-up sheet.
if you're,
If you already printed out, you don't need this, then you don't have to take it.
if your name is not on here, right?
Sally, do you need it?
I printed one, so I'm okay. If someone needs it. If someone needs it, I
That's only if you do that.
If you're here,
Yeah, it's on here.
if you're not here, don't say.
Okay, I'll use my Ghost Rider.
Oh, yeah. I just forgot, no one's able to walk
If
in.
we're here before, it should be there.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
It should be there.
Jane, you need a set of printer, you got it, okay.
I'm sorry, I just completely glazed out on the first part.
I saw the sign.
Last part.
I'm not that surprised that it started, yeah.
First part was
I mean, it's because it's,
Need anything to do in the oven, that's probably what I would do now.
Is this a good time to do something?
oh, yeah, Sally is saying if you have a potluck item that goes in the oven, this would be a good
Yes.
time to do it. We can also take a little stretch.
I go down the parkway. Because the thing is so backed up, I go down the parkway.
Yeah, I failed out to go down the parkway too. It took me a lot longer than I expected to get here. I left early enough to get here half hour early, and I got here just barely before 2:30, and it was because I bailed out soon enough. Didn't get stuck. Yeah.
Several times.
To slow down, I'm kind of like, let's go.
And
Oh, it's still moving.
And you know, the
And
funny
then I
thing,
had my GPS out, and we ended up picking up, and then it's a 3X.
Just make sure you
And
hold
it
my
was
door.
very slow, but it's moving, and people around the belt like you just stop.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up taking the one that you got such a beautiful. Originally, it was gonna take me 28 down to 15, and I would have been here by 3.
well, how about we?
To take me to the Beltway.
I totally wish that this I was running.
Yep. Oh, so you're okay.
But they didn't say much, they didn't say how far. See, there was a-
Okay. Yeah, once I was,
Okay. And then, you know, once you've invested this much, I said, I have to still come. Well, I figured everybody's gonna be late, so I won't have missed as much as it looks
yeah,
like.
we started with 3 people here.
We were debating whether you were ahead of us and got through, or you were
I was not quite ahead of enough to get through, so the accident had already happened. But I was early enough to be able to get over the bridge. The backup was starting on the bridge, and I said, okay, back up on the bridge, looks bad up ahead, bail out. And the question was Georgetown Pike or George Washington Parkway. And then it took eight minutes to get to the exit from the middle of the bridge. And so at that point, I was able to hear the traffic report on the radio. And they said there was a truck fire under that bridge.
No, they closed the bridge.
Yeah. So I figured I wouldn't be able to get off on Georgetown Pike, so I took George Washington Parkway. And not only, I went towards Washington, and then I went enclosed the CIA, and got on the Beltway, got on the Beltway again, beyond where the accident was. At which point there was no traffic because nobody's getting through.
Yeah.
And then I just came out on 66 like I would have. So it cost me 15 minutes, but it saved me at least 45 waiting in that backup.
They're like,
Because as I was coming out Route 66, I was hearing, oh, all lanes are still
I have
closed.
a niece now who
And Georgetown Pike is still closed. So,
Yeah, I've been here
I
in
never,
December, so
40
it's
years
kind
ago,
of.
I
because the truck fire was under the bridge.
And they are darling, they're like,
So check the money, check the jacket.
yeah, I know,
I don't know if other people have to do it.
Oh.
Could be worse.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Bad place for it to be. Yeah.
So funny, it's great with kids and.
And turnaround, it's popular spot for hiking in March and April though.
Right.
A lot of wildflowers are in the bluff.
wherever you.
Right, but it was not a problem this time. So,
That's a good turnaround.
So I can't find my checkbook, I can't.
That reminds me that I think this is in Cedar Run. I think
Yeah.
this is supposed to be a prime spot in, I believe, late March or early April.
for wildflowers or birds or both?
Or I think both.
Oh, nice.
Maybe this year.
Well,
Tell me there's
I like the
okay, do we have anybody willing to start the next part of Fiddle Club?
Oh, absolutely.
Since we're still live streaming all of this? Hi, folks. Let's do our reading by ear, and we'll start with the F sharp minor tunes on page 14 from Doug McPhee. So unlike Radio Edit, which was written by a fiddler for a fiddler, these are written by a pianist, and he doesn't really care if it's inconvenient for a fiddler. And but Doug McPhee personally gave me the music for these. And I don't know if you heard, but Doug McPhee passed away last week. Right around Christmas time. It's kind of funny because when I first met him, I was in college and I was at a fiddle event in Boston where I was going to college, and Doug McPhee was one of the guests, and that was the first time I met him, and the whole group got to perform with him and Carl McKenzie, who were the guests that time. And it was really cool, but I was luckily seated like right behind the piano keyboard, and I got to watch especially his left hand, and he does all this cool bass stuff. So that was Doug McPhee's signature, was to do these amazing bass runs. He would do this chromatic thing down and this scale thing down. And I have included the scale down in the second tune because it's the kind of thing he would have done. Anyway, I didn't have any idea about this then, and of course it wasn't actually the case back then. I'll explain. I found out only a few years ago that I'm actually related to Doug McPhee by marriage. So my husband's family is all from Cape Breton. My husband's cousin is married to a guy named Jerome O'Coin, who actually he played guitar with Rita McNeil. He's the two we're the two in-laws, right? But we're the musical people in the family. The rest of the family is not very musical. So Jerome's aunt was Jerome's one of Jerome's relatives. I'm not going to get this wrong. So my cousin-in-law's relatives are related to Doug McPhee's mother. So I read Doug McPhee's obituary, and it said some of his survivors were his cousins, Keith and Lauren O'Coin, and they're my cousin-in-law's Jerome's cousins too. So that was our connection, and Cape Bretoners are always trying to figure out who you're connected to because it sort of like places you in their musical world. And as soon as Doug McPhee heard about this connection, he started calling me cousin. This was great. Yeah, so we'd have this little joke. It's like, oh, hey, cousin. So, it's a very, very far distant connection, right? The double in-law. But that is kind of cool. Anyway, what a kind man Doug McPhee was. He is always fun to play with, and it's such a good sport about playing with everybody. He accompanied every fiddler is great and small for decades. So you'd find him accompanying the best people on their recordings, and then you'd also find him playing at the weekly session, where you could just sit down and have some tunes with Doug, or you could annoy him by playing his perhaps least favorite jig, Squirrel in the Tree, which people would do on purpose just to make him have to play it, accompany them. It was like this running joke. Oh, Doug's at the piano. Let's play Squirrel in the Tree. But he had an enormous range of tunes he loved to play, not only the strathspeys and reels and jigs and dance tunes, but he would play listening sets with great style. He could play a solo set anytime. And he would play variations. So one of the things he's known for is playing variations on Elke Bridge, the William Marshall Strathspey, variations on Tullochgorum, which is a very fancy tune with its variations. Doug also was really fond of clogs and hornpipes, which were danced by individual solo dancers. So anyway, Jacqueline's 70th. Jacqueline was Doug McPhee's sister. Still is. She's still alive.
Oh, okay.
So. So like I said, for a pianist, you'll notice it as soon as you try playing it on your fiddle. Okay. played a little faster than that. But it's not a fast Cape Breton Strathspey. You know how some of those Cape Breton Strathspeys really start zipping long? Yeah. This one will never be at that speed.
What is that one?
That was Miss Lyle. Yeah, and the regular Scottish Miss Lyle is a little slower, but the Cape Breton take on it always faster. This one would be one of those slowish to moderate Strathspeys. But it might go directly into the next reel rather than working its way through a series of faster and faster Strathspeys. Because let's face it, there aren't that many F sharp minor Strathspeys. I can name a few, but there really aren't very many. There are more F sharp minor reels. And that's how radio edit is kind of part of that. F sharp minor reels are the new jigs in E.
I was just gonna say, is this like the new thing?
So quite a while ago, jigs in E were all the rage, right? Remember hearing about that? And everybody was playing all the jigs in E. You know, and they'd show up at every Fiddle Club jam. Somebody would start a jig in E, and then we had to play all the ones that we knew, right? So now I noticed a thing where more and more people were playing reels in F sharp minor. And there are a number of them that exist that are traditional or older. But there's like this new surge of new reels in F sharp minor. So Pat Chaffee's 50th, another birthday tune by Doug McPhee. Pat Chaffee is a pianist. One of her best known tunes is Stella's Trip to Kamloops, which we haven't played for a while, but it was a Fiddle Club tune that we would do back in the time. Anybody remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah. See?
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So let me play Pat Chaffee's 50th by Doug McPhee. Let's play it nice and slow. Like really nice and slow. Oh, yeah. Is that fast enough? Okay.
I feel like you were at full speed.
No.
I was like.
We were not, but even Doug did not expect most people to play this up to speed. In fact, his comment when I first heard it played was, and I wish I could remember which fiddler he was playing with, but his comment was, and he's willing to play this one with me.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's move it on to the next page where we have Swinging on Home, which was the tune that I offered to teach you by ear early on. And now you'll get to decide whether you would have rather learned that one. So Joan McDonald Bose, another Cape Breton pianist. She passed away a few decades ago, so we haven't had her with us for a while, but she wrote The Sweetness of Mary and Huey Jim Paul's Reel and a few others that get played quite frequently that are not coming to mind right now. This one, really popular. I did not know it was her tune, and I did not know the name of it until just this summer when I played it with the Cape Breton fiddlers at their festival. So here's how it goes. Swing on home.
Here's your reminder. Check the chickens.
Check the chickens.
That's funny.
No, I need
They
that
go all
in,
day.
I need that in my house because otherwise I would end up burning stuff.
This is for the chickens outside. Chicken coop outside.
It's check the real chickens,
Yes,
living
outside.
chickens outdoors in the coop, right?
My aunt's apartment is a smoke alarm.
Oh, yeah.
I know for me it would be like check the chicken before it burns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, let's get back to this tune.
Yeah.
Okay, let's play it under speed for starters. Notice that most of the time C is natural, but there's a few places, most notably at the tags at the end of phrases, where it's C sharp. So it's mostly modal tune with non-modal endings. Okay.
Not as hard as I expected.
Yeah, it's not actually that hard. It's just like built on D and C arpeggios mostly, with some other fun stuff thrown in. Okay, on page 18. No, sorry, 16. Page 16, we have Miss Stewart, as it's known in Cape Breton. This is actually a version of a William Marshall Strathspey, Miss Stewart of Fiddle. And it's a little different. It's actually, the Marshall one has big interval jumps, bigger than here. And it's a little more, I would say, a little more twisty on the fingers. And this one, they're kind of like, oh, well, instead of playing that twisty bit where you have to think about it, we're just going to do the straightforward thing.
So it's Miss Stewart for bunglers.
Right. If you go with the William Marshall joke, you didn't write music for bunglers. This is bunglers version, right? But it's actually, it really distills the essence of the tune without being detailed William Marshall-ish. And it's so much so that when I heard it and then I saw it in the music that was online for the Cape Breton Fiddlers Association, I was like, Miss Stewart, that's a great tune. It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't think I've played this for Scottish country dancing. I've played the William Marshall version, and it took me a while to recognize it. And then I was like, oh, yeah, it definitely is a version of the Marshall tune. So let me play you this Cape Breton version of it, and you can look up the Marshall version, and maybe I'll present it at some future date. It's about time that we look back at William Marshall again sometime, so we might do that. Okay, you always need a few good Strathspeys in key of G, right? So let's give it a go. good tune. It's a good tune. This version is a good tune, and the Marshall original is also a good tune, but it feels different. All right, Celtic Ceilidh. This is a Dan R. MacDonald tune. A lot of the Dan R. MacDonald tunes are out in circulation, and sometimes the circulating version is quite different from what's printed in the books. There are 2 published Dan R. MacDonald books. They were published by his nephew, who is sort of like his musical executor or curator of his tunes. And it's great that he's put them into circulation in a published form. What's not entirely great is that often the circulating version is different from the published version. Like we all play Dan R. MacDonald's The New Fiddle. So in the book, it's strictly in the key of E. I mean, I can't even play it not modal. Right, and nobody does. But, you can't get a published version of it the way people also regularly play it. And another one of DNR's like that is The Red Shoes, which everybody also plays differently than how it's published.
I mean, does like Paul Cranford know? I mean, can he
Yes,
say-
so Paul would love to publish a circulating version of Dan R. MacDonald's tunes, but since he doesn't have copyright, yeah, he hasn't been able to convince John Donald Cameron to allow that yet.
I mean, would he actually have something to say as to whether that the published version is actually a mistake? Like did Dan R. actually play them?
Well,
Modally or not,
one can go through Dan R.'s recordings,
Uh-huh.
and in the cases where he plays a tune that he composed, you could
You could
transcribe
argue
his
that-
own
yeah.
version of it, and then compare it with these written versions. But the big way to sort of judge what is the circulating version is just to see how do people play it, how have people past and present recorded it.
Yeah.
And there are lots of evidence of Dan R. tunes circulating that way. And Paul would love to publish such a thing. I hope he is able to do that at some point. Celtic Ceilidh, on the other hand, having that big spiel, it's pretty much played the way Dan R. published, in the published book of Dan R. tunes. So even though I actually got this from the Cape Breton Fiddlers Association, I went and referred to the book and said, oh, it's the same, so I'll reference the book. Okay, here it is. Let's try it. I bet there are still variants of it out there, despite that the 2 versions that I acquired were the same. was fast enough?
I was like, I thought you were gonna go one more round, Elke.
One more round. One more round.
She is gonna go.
That's fast enough. Now, and by the way, that actually is fast enough because that's a step dancing tempo. Cape Breton reels normally are not played super fast. Of course, some people will play them fast, but the truth is that you can't do good stepping to music that's too fast. It sort of cuts down, so you can only do the simple steps. And if you're a good step dancer and you got a lot of fancy steps, you would like to have a tempo that's suitable, that you can show them off.
An air thing.
An air, right? On page 17, we have a slow air. This is in memory of Herbie McLeod. And the Cape Breton Fiddlers Association has this tradition where they acknowledge people who have passed on from one year to the next, and they'll either have a tune that was composed for them, or one that they composed, or one that they were known to favor that gets played in their honor at the festival. So Jerry Holland wrote this one for Herbie McLeod one year, and that was quite a while back. Let's play In Memory of Herbie McLeod by Jerry Holland. tune. Doug McPhee's favorite Strathspey. I gotta tell you, there are a lot of tunes called Doug McPhee's favorite. So I do have printed evidence. Okay. Now, of course, this one shut, so I don't think I can find it anymore. There was one in here. Doug McPhee's favorite by Brenda Stubbart.
It's his favorite among theirs.
Yes. Oh, I know what was in here was Doug McPhee's favorite clog in the Jerry Holland book. I'd have to look it up to find the page again. And then this one has another tune by Doug McPhee in it. So he did write a few tunes. And I also have the DNR tune, and there's a Doug McPhee's favorite jig, I think, in this one. So there's a lot of his favorites. This one, a lot of the John Campbell tunes aren't published. So we're lucky to get this one in a printed form. Doug McPhee's favorite Strathspey. You all know who John Campbell was? I've mentioned him before.
I've heard of it.
So John Campbell was a Cape Breton fiddler who spent a lot of his time living in Boston, which is where I met him in the 80s. He's very much a dance fiddler with just this real rhythmic drive. He wrote a lot of tunes which have become very popular. So Father Francis Cameron is probably his most famous tune, but he also wrote Sandy McIntyre's Trip to Boston, which is almost as famous, and quite a few others. We had the Harbor View Jig by John Campbell recently. I think that was 2 years ago. Yeah. Okay. Entirely with dots and no snaps, and I just cannot believe John Campbell ever played it that way. Because he would have just been putting in snaps wherever he felt like they were appropriate. So do not feel like the dots are gospel. Okay. Okay, we'd play it longer if we weren't already sort of running overtime. So let's move it right along to Mrs. B. Wallace, another Dan R. McDonald tune. In this case, it's different from the way it's published in the Dan R. books. So I went with the Cape Breton Fiddler's version because a lot of Dan R. tunes have been processed through the folk fiddling machine, and they come out a little different on the other side. In this case, the main difference is people prefer to play the parts reversed. So it's essentially the same tune, but with the parts interchanged in the Dan R. book. Let's try that again. And that's about as how well it went for me at the Cape Breton Fiddle Festival.
You're so good.
Oh, and I didn't have sheet music there. Nobody plays with sheet music at that festival. Oh, no, you don't play with sheet music there. So it's just like, okay, some kind of arpeggio. Oh no, there's some kind of scale. Oh, they went up. Right. So let's play it
A little slower.
a little slower. That's enough, right?
Yeah. Mercy.
Okay, let's play through our 2 tunes learned by ear a couple times. Radio edits. You want to go slow? Okay, slow then fast. Slow then fast. sharing these tunes with me. And our feature of Cape Breton, our little tribute to Doug McPhee and the Cape Breton Fiddlers Association and their Fiddle Festival.
Do you happen to have December, or should I print it at home? Just in case.
Yeah, I probably do.
If you don't.
But let me say bye to the people online. Thanks for joining us, and see you. Where'd it go? There we go.